The stars twinkled in the black emptiness of space. The alien ship Victory moved slowly through the darkness. On its bridge, Commander Tay looked at the big screen. His 4 eyes narrowed as he saw something floating in the distance. "What is that?" he asked, pointing one of his 3 arms at the shape. Officer Kang moved to the scanner. His skin was blue and rough like tree bark. "It's a human ship, sir. Very big. About 1 kilometer long." "A human ship? Here?" Tay walked closer to the screen. "I thought they all ran away after we beat them at Proxima Centauri." "They did, sir. This one seems to be left behind. Our scans show no life signs, no working engines, it's just floating dead in space." Tay rubbed his chin with his middle arm. "What's its name?" Kang zoomed in on some writing on the side of the ship. "It says Hyperion, sir. It was one of their best warships." "Not very good if it's floating dead in space," said Officer Han with a laugh. "Should we blow it up?" Tay thought for a moment. "No. This could be useful. The Council would like to study human technology. Even if it's simple, we might learn something." "Simple is right," said Kang, looking at his scanner. "Their ship is made of basic metals. Their weapons are just chemical explosives and weak energy beams. Even their computers are slow." The aliens all laughed. Humans were so far behind them in technology. It was funny that these primitive beings had tried to fight them at all. "Bring it in," ordered Tay. "Use the pulling beams to get it into our big holding area." The alien ship moved closer to the human vessel. It looked dead and cold like a metal coffin in space. Its dark windows showed no signs of life. Its engines were silent. "Be careful," said Tay. "It might have traps." "From humans?" Kang laughed again. "What could they possibly do that would hurt us?" The pulling beams reached out like glowing fingers. They wrapped around the human ship and began to pull it toward the alien vessel. Inside the Hyperion, deep in a hidden room, a small red light began to blink. A computer voice spoke softly to the empty air. "Foreign contact detected. Initiating Protocol 7. In a small metal pod, a human woman named Jay slept. She had been frozen for almost 2 years. The computer watched over her as the ship drifted through space. Now the computer began to warm her pod. It would take time for her to wake up. Until then, the ship would pretend to be dead. The aliens pulled the Hyperion into their ship. They sent teams to explore it. They walked through dark hallways, shining lights into empty rooms. They saw human beds, human food stations, human control panels. Everything was simple and primitive to their eyes. "Look at this," said one alien to another. "They still use buttons. And these screens are so small." They laughed and took pictures. They didn't notice the tiny cameras watching them from the corners. They didn't see the small robots that followed them, no bigger than insects. They didn't know that every word they said was being recorded. "Admiral Gu will want to see this," said Tay. "Call him. Tell him we have a perfect example of human failure." As the aliens explored, deep in the ship, Jay's eyes began to move under her closed eyelids. She was dreaming of home, of Earth. Soon she would wake up, and when she did, the real mission of the Hyperion would begin. The aliens had no idea what was coming. Admiral Gu arrived on the alien ship Victory 2 days later. He was an important alien with golden skin and 6 fingers on each hand. All the other aliens bowed when he walked onto the bridge. "Show me this human ship you found," he ordered Commander Tay. The aliens walked together to the big holding area where the Hyperion sat quietly. Admiral Gu laughed when he saw it. "This is what scared everyone? This metal box?" He walked around the human ship, looking at it with his 3 eyes. "It's so ugly and simple." "We've been studying it, sir," said Officer Park. She handed him a small screen. "The humans use old-style fuel for power. Their weapons are weak. Their computers are slow." Admiral Gu smiled. His teeth were sharp and green. "Let's go inside. I want to see how these humans lived." 20 aliens entered the Hyperion. They walked through dark hallways, turning on lights as they went. They touched everything, opened every door. "Look at these sleeping areas," said Admiral Gu, pointing at the small rooms where humans had once slept. "So tiny. How did they live like this? Humans are small and weak, said Park. They don't need much space. In the engine room, the aliens took pictures and made notes. They thought the human technology was funny. They still use wires, said one alien engineer. And look at these controls, so basic. What the aliens didn't know was that everything in the Hyperion was fake. The real engines were hidden. The real weapons were disguised as something else. The real computers were invisible, built into the walls themselves. Deep in the hidden heart of the ship, Jay was now awake. She lay still in her pod, listening to the ship's computer tell her what was happening. The aliens are all over the ship, said the computer voice in her ear. They think it's dead. They're laughing at our technology. Jay smiled a little. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. How many are on board now? 23 in the ship. Over 300 on their vessel. Good. Keep recording everything they say. I want to know what they're planning. On the bridge of the Hyperion, Admiral Gu sat in the captain's chair. It was too small for him, and he looked silly. The other aliens took pictures of him. I declare this human junk pile officially part of the Confederation, he said with a big laugh. We will take it apart and learn all their little secrets. Officer Kang was looking at a control panel. Sir, should we try to start it up? The power system seemed to be partly working. Why not? Let's see what this human toy can do. Kang pressed some buttons. Nothing happened at first, then a few lights came on. A small screen lit up with words. What does it say? Asked Admiral Gu. It says System Reboot Initiated, read Kang. I think we're turning it on. More lights came on. The aliens clapped their hands or tentacles, excited to see the human ship wake up. What they didn't know was that Jay had just told the ship's computer to start the first part of her plan. The ship wasn't really turning on. It was just pretending to, showing the aliens what they expected to see. Sir, said Park suddenly, I'm picking up energy readings I didn't see before. There might be more to this ship than we thought. Nonsense, said Admiral Gu. It's just an old human warship. What could possibly surprise us? In her hidden room, Jay put on her uniform. She checked her weapons. She looked at the screen showing all the aliens walking around her ship. They have no idea, she whispered to herself. No idea at all. Jay moved quietly through the hidden tunnels of the Hyperion. These small passages ran between the walls where no alien could find them. They were made just for her, the ship's guardian. From here, she could go anywhere on the ship without being seen. She stopped at a small window and looked out. 3 aliens were in the engine room, taking apart what they thought was the main power system. They were wrong. The real engines were hidden elsewhere. Status report, Jay whispered into her wrist communicator. The ship's computer voice answered softly in her ear. All aliens are still unaware. They believe they are examining our true systems. Phase 1 is 80% complete. Jay nodded. Phase 1 was simple. Let the aliens think they understood the ship. Let them feel smart and superior. Let them get comfortable. Time until Phase 2? She asked. 3 hours, replied the computer. Admiral Gu has called for more scientists to come study the ship. When they arrive, we will have over 50 aliens on board. Jay smiled. Perfect. She continued through the tunnels until she reached the ship's true heart, the central core. This room wasn't on any map of the ship. If the aliens found the ship's blueprints, they would never see this place. The core was small but packed with advanced technology. Blue lights pulsed along the walls. In the center was a sphere of swirling energy, floating in the air. Hello, son, Jay said to the sphere. The energy pulsed brighter. Hello, Lieutenant Jay. It is good to see you awake. The voice was warm and human-like, not flat like the basic computer. Son wasn't just a computer. It was an artificial intelligence far more advanced than anything the aliens thought humans could make. Are they still mocking us? Jay asked. Sun projected a video on the wall. It showed Admiral Gu talking to his officers. These humans are like children playing with toys, the alien was saying. Their ship is a joke. We could build something like this 1,000 years ago. The aliens all laughed. Jay didn't laugh. Her face was serious. They'll learn soon. Start waking the systems. Slowly. Don't let them notice until it's too late. Yes, Lieutenant, said Sun, beginning full awakening sequence. Throughout the ship, tiny changes began. Microscopic robots in the walls started to move. Hidden panels prepared to open. Weapon systems quietly charged. On the bridge, where Admiral Gu was sitting in the captain's chair again, a small light began to blink on a control panel. What's that? He asked, pointing at the light. Officer Park looked at it. It says System Diagnostic Running. I think the ship is checking itself. Can you stop it? Asked the Admiral. Park pressed some buttons. No, it won't respond. But it's probably nothing important. Just old human programming running by itself. The Admiral shrugged. These human computers are so simple. Let it run its little program. They didn't know that the diagnostic was actually the ship preparing for battle. With each passing minute, more systems secretly came online. In the central core, Jay watched all this on the screens. Soon it would be time. Soon the aliens would learn that humans were not the simple, weak creatures they thought. Soon they would learn to fear what they had mocked. Son, she said quietly, prepare the message. We'll send it when we begin Phase 2. Message ready, said Son. It will be broadcast to all alien communication channels. Jay nodded and began to put on her battlesuit. It was black and fitted her body perfectly. It would make her stronger, faster, and harder to kill. The time for sleeping was over. The time for action was coming. Admiral Gu was showing the Hyperion to even more alien leaders. 50 aliens now walked through the human ship, touching things and laughing. This is the weapons room, said Admiral Gu, opening a large door. Look at these little guns. They shoot metal pieces. So old-fashioned. The aliens took pictures and made jokes. They felt very smart and very safe. Then something changed. First, the lights turned from white to red. The aliens looked up, confused. What's happening? Asked Admiral Gu. Is this part of the tour? Officer Park checked her scanner. No, sir, something is wrong. The ship is, waking up. A voice came from everywhere at once. It was a woman's voice, calm but strong. Attention all Confederation forces. This is Lieutenant J of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are now prisoners aboard the Hyperion. The aliens looked at each other. Was this a joke? Check your scanners, said the voice. Check your weapons. The aliens pulled out their guns and scanners. The guns didn't work. The scanners showed strange new energy all around them. On all the screens in the ship, a face appeared. It was Jay looking straight at them. You have been deceived, she said. This ship is not what you thought. It is not abandoned. It is not primitive. It is a trap, and you walked right into it. Admiral Gu stepped forward, angry. This is nonsense. We control this ship now. Jay smiled on the screen. Do you? Try to leave. The aliens ran to the doors. All the doors were closed now. They wouldn't open. You see, continued Jay, the Hyperion is a special kind of ship. We call it a Trojan horse. In human history, the Trojan horse was a big wooden animal that soldiers hid inside. The enemy thought it was a gift and brought it into their city. At night, the soldiers came out and attacked. The walls of the ship began to change. Panels slid open, showing new technology the aliens had never seen before. The simple metal walls turned into something else, something that glowed with power. What you saw was a fake, said Jay. What you studied was what we wanted you to see. The real Hyperion is something very different. On the bridge of the alien ship Victory, the aliens who hadn't gone to the Hyperion were panicking. Their screens showed that the human ship was now putting out massive energy. Their scanners couldn't understand what was happening. Inside the Hyperion, Admiral Gu watched in shock as the bridge transformed around him. The simple controls disappeared, replaced by advanced systems that lit up with blue light. Then a door opened, and Jay walked in. She wore a black suit that seemed to move like it was alive. She was small compared to the aliens, but she didn't look afraid. Hello, Admiral, she said. Welcome to the real Hyperion. How is this possible? Asked Admiral Gu. Human technology isn't this advanced. Jay walked to the captain's chair. You believe what you want to believe. You saw a primitive ship, because that's what you expected to see. You never looked deeper. She sat down and the chair adjusted to her size. And now, she said, you will learn what humans are truly capable of. The Hyperion was no longer hiding. It glowed with power, like a star in the darkness. Inside, the aliens were no longer laughing. They were afraid. Jay stood on the bridge, looking at the screens. She could see everything. The alien ship Victory, the stars around them, and the faces of the alien leaders. What happens now? Asked Admiral Gu. His voice was quiet now. Will you kill us? Jay shook her head. No. That's not our way. We want peace, not death. But you need to understand that humans are not weak. We are not simple, and we are not to be mocked. She pressed a button on her chair. The Hyperion began to move. Its engines, the real ones hidden deep inside, powered up with a soft hum. What are you doing? Asked Admiral Gu. Taking control, said Jay simply. Your ship is now connected to mine. I control both ships now. On the Victory, alien crew members watched in shock as their controls stopped working. Their weapons went offline. Their engines turned on by themselves. The two ships, now linked by invisible technology, began to move through space together. Where are you taking us? Asked Officer Park. To meet the rest of the human fleet, said Jay. The aliens looked at each other. What fleet? We destroyed your ships at Proxima Centauri. Jay smiled. You destroyed some ships. Not all. Not even most. She touched another button, and a new image appeared on the big screen. It showed hundreds of ships waiting in space not far away. They had been hiding, invisible to alien scanners. This is the real Earth Defense Fleet, said Jay. The ships you fought before were old models, decoys. Like this ship was a decoy until it wasn't. Admiral Gu sat down heavily in a chair. All this time, we thought we were winning. You were seeing what we wanted you to see, said Jay. This war could have ended long ago, but we needed to understand you first. We needed to know if peace was possible. The Hyperion and Victory moved closer to the human fleet. On each human ship, alien prisoners watched in wonder as they realized how wrong they had been about humans. What will happen to us? Asked Admiral Gu. You will go home, said Jay. You will tell your leaders what you've seen. You will tell them that humans want peace, but we are ready for war if that's what you choose. She walked to Admiral Gu and looked up at him. She was half his size, but he felt small next to her now. You thought our ship was abandoned, but it was waiting. You thought our technology was simple, but it was hidden. You thought humans were weak, but we were patient. The alien admiral nodded slowly. I understand now. We all do. As the ships reached the human fleet, messages began coming in from the Confederation homeworld. They wanted to talk. They wanted to make peace. Jay looked out at the stars and smiled. The plan had worked perfectly. No one had died. The war was ending not with destruction, but with understanding. Humans had shown their strength not by destroying their enemy, but by outsmarting them. Not by killing, but by teaching. It was the human way,